Welcome to the Sports Card Talk Show. Sports Card Talk Show with Kevin Anderson and Lorn Walker, the Skull Brothers.
All right, welcome to episode 196 of the Sports Card Talk Show. King eBay 101 Idiots over here. Lorn, and I'm going to be your host, Kevin. We just got off the phone. We dialed up Alex over at Rare Edition. Had a great conversation with him. He's the CEO over there. That's going to be the bulk of the episode, but we're going to jump into a few things real quick before we go to that. I know the big question that I got for you. What's the update on DC Sports 87?
DC Sports 87, my auctions ended, I believe, Sunday night.
Yep.
And then Monday, some money started flowing into my DC Sports Cards 87 dashboard, which was super easy to access on my phone from, the browser.
Oh, yeah.
And then on Wednesday, most of the money had come in. Only one card hadn't been paid for, so I submitted. You text them your name and your bank account info, and Thursday morning, the money was in my bank.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's super slick. Whenever I texted him, we actually had a little bit of text chat back and forth. Super personable, great guys. And I told you asked me how I felt about the whole process. The process is amazing. I shouldn't have maybe sent football cards off during the off season.
It's so funny. We know that.
Yeah.
I think we kind of got caught up in it.
Yeah.
And I've been pushing you for 3 years to sell.
Yeah.
I think maybe you got sick of listening. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, it's I want to get some. I'm tired of spending money out of my paychecks for cards. So it seemed like and I'm not just. I still made money on the cards that I sent in. I did.
For sure.
It isn't like I took it in the rear on them. Didn't make as much money as you think you could have made on them, but then. I told you though, also yesterday I went to our LCS and sold him a bunch of cards too, because didn't get as much money for them either. I probably would have made more money if I would have sent all those cards into DC Sports 87, but I dumped a lot of cards on our LCS guy and we're good friends. Yeah,
and you made some.
You
made some, and you left some on the bone for him. And,
Yep.
Because Fred's a great guy, but it's all about moving him.
Yeah,
he's gonna move him. There's no bones about it.
Yeah, and Fred actually I get married way too much to my cards, even like the 200th card of that card that I've got,
right. Too funny.
So it's feels good though, and I feel like I don't know, man. Spring is finally here up in Duluth, and I don't know if the sunshine in there for a few days got me super motivated to actually start doing. I want to get my setup going and actually start selling cards myself. That's where you're going to make the most money.
Dude, I can't believe you actually set up a Whatnot account.
Oh,
can I say that? Can I say that?
Yeah, that's how did that even? Oh, Fred was telling me. He said he started doing it like a month and a half ago, and he was telling me about it. This is actually over the phone. I think the day before that, because I called him up and he said, yeah, you can come in tomorrow with some cards. I think that was on Tuesday. And he's started telling me about Whatnot. And I had the Whatnot app on my phone. I just downloaded it, but I never did anything with it. Well, I went in there and set up my account, and then I applied to be a seller. And then by the end of the night, they accepted me. So, so I don't know how that's going to go, but
oh man,
the thing awesome. is that that's a lot of steps that I took just in a week. So I feel like I did a lot of things in just the last couple of weeks that we just been talking about for years.
Totally. Another little thing about maybe not getting as much as you wanted to. Bad time to send the cards in for football. But at the same time, like you said, you get the ball rolling and you sent them to one person and they did it all.
Yeah, exactly.
You went up and talked to Fred. He took them all. Mm-hmm. You don't have to, there's something for that. That's worth something.
The thing is a snowball always starts out small.
Yeah.
And then it gets bigger and bigger. So the ball is starting to roll.
You did say it's spring, so hopefully it doesn't melt,
Yeah.
before we get started here.
Now, on a flip side, before we did our show, I don't know, is your card laying around here somewhere?
No, I put it away.
Okay, but you got your rare edition card back, and it's the Blacktop Legends Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
And you want to complete the set, and you finally.
I did. There was a LeBron that finally popped up. They don't show up very often, and it was a best offer. And we talked about it, and we agreed on one price. And I'm like, I'm going to do $10 less. I mean, it was 2 minutes, and it was accepted. I'm like, I should have did even a little bit less.
Yeah,
because it was probably the most. Well, it is definitely the most I spent on that series, even more than the Kobe, which is fine. But that's going to be going to rare edition.
Yeah. Now you only have one. You got the last biggie to get.
Yep.
And
the rest of them, I have most of them, and then just a couple of $20 ones.
You're gonna check off that. And you had a big check mark today.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to request shipment from ComC. Because I have several of them there.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so I'm going to have to request shipment soon so I can get those off. Speaking of that, I can't wait to see what you come up with on your big shipment.
Yeah, I posted on Instagram a couple days ago. That's another thing, too. I haven't been very... Used to religiously post on Instagram, and I haven't been doing that. And I posted a question on ComC. How many eBay 101s are in my box?
Out of 877.
877 cards. How many eBay 101s are there in that box? And I asked how many Teddy Bridgewaters are in the box?
Yep.
What's the highest card in the box? What's the lowest card on the box? What's the average cost of the cards in that 877 card order? And I got one response on Instagram. So if you guys want to take guesses, I'll probably ask all those questions again, but it's going to take a bit of time, but I do plan on having a kind of a reveal show on that.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. I can't wait to see that, man. I really think that was all we were going to talk about before we get into this interview with Alex. We had a great time chatting with him. Thanks again for coming on, Alex. We encourage everyone to at least check out Rare Edition. We're big supporters.
This one's just totally going to be a fake one, but ring-a-ling ding dong.
All right, we got Alex dialed up. How are you doing tonight, Alex?
Good, I'm doing great. Feeling good. It's beautiful weather outside. In New England, it's May can be iffy. I'll never forget. I went to a Sox game with my in-laws one time. They booked it in May, and I said, it can go either way. 37 and raining. That's what it was. And we said, is this what you wanted? Because this is 100% within the realm of possibility. But tonight it was 70. It's sunny. Just can't get any better.
We are so similar. 2 days ago, 85. First nice day of the year. Very next day, 55 degrees and raining.
Of course, yeah. Because why would you want one? Why would you want one weather, one temperature?
Right.
2 days in a row. It doesn't make sense.
No, not two. No way. Oh, well, thanks for coming on. Why don't you take a second, tell people, remind people who you are, who you're with. I guess we haven't even said that yet. And maybe talk about your hobby history leading up to this new venture.
You got it. So my name's Alex. I'm at a company called Rare Edition. So I'm the CEO there. And Rare Edition is a collectibles grading company, right? We're starting in cards, but our ambition is to be the place that everyone goes to when they've got anything that's worth collecting, right? So starting with coins, starting with cards, those are the two areas that we're digging into the most. Some of our co-founders, one of them has a huge background in coins. This guy has forgotten more about coins than I'll ever know. One of our other co-founders, huge card collector. And then a bunch of us bring a lot of different collectible backgrounds. For me, I mean, I started, like, I'm almost 40. I started collecting cards and doing cards with my dad during the junk wax era. That was what it was. It was so much fun. Dad and I would go down to the local card store. We'd buy a whole bunch of like 91 Pinnacle baseball cards, which are worth maybe the value of their cardboard, maybe that they were printed on. But we'd have a lot of fun. We'd go out there. We got our favorite players. I grew up in the DC metro area, and this is like pre-Nats, pre any good sports teams. I mean, I guess we had the Capitals, but man, I was like an Orioles fan growing up, so I never got any championships. I never got any meaningful playoffs, but I would go out and I would collect every Cal Ripken card out there. And, we had the Washington sports team and everything, football team. And that was fine, but not great. I think it was like 95, right? Everyone was like, "Oh, I'm a Redskins fan." And everyone's like, never mind. I'm back in the weeds now. I'm just going to slowly back away. This was not the beginning of a dynasty. This was the anomaly. But then when I moved up to Boston, where I am right now, obviously we're the hub of the sports universe, and no other area of the world matters. I don't know what's going on in Tampa Bay. I don't follow those teams anymore. I don't know anything about the Lakers. That's not a real team. Like all this stuff. I got to give crap for it, because two of my co-founders live in LA. And, they're like, the Lakers are great. Everyone loves the Lakers. And then this year they were like, don't ask me about the Lakers. Like, it's just not worth it.
Right.
But that's kind of my sport history, right? Came up through the hobby. Dad and I went to local card shops all the time, picking up cards. Always had a love for it. I'm a huge collector and other stuff too. I've got lots of video games, trading card games like Pokemon and Magic, as well as a huge number of books. I've got about 4,000 books in the house. Which is another area it's heavy and it's expensive, and it requires a lot of bookshelves, but it's a lot of fun. For me though, we started Rare Edition because, like I said, we wanted to be the hub for everything worth collecting. But right now, man, it's all about sports cards. That's what we're all about.
Right. Yeah. I think I may have caught one of the other founders. Is it Brandon?
Yeah, Brandon. Yep.
Yeah, I caught him on IG Live, and I remember him hearing about coins. I'm like, okay, they're gonna get into it. Yep.
Brandon's family, his family business is a rare coin company. And so he's literally held, his father he's probably one of the biggest rare coin experts in the world. And he owns a huge amount of art and everything too. Just a huge character too, larger than life whenever you meet him. And yeah, Brandon literally was in diapers trading coins on the show floor. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So we'll, first, I'm going to put a little disclaimer out. I obviously love what you guys do. I'll put a picture up of this too.
Yep.
This is my Blacktop Legends Kobe. Yeah, I was thoroughly impressed with everything about it, really. So we were like, we got to have you guys on, and reached out, and you guys were nice enough to come on. So we appreciate that.
I know when Kevin showed me your IG page and your website and stuff like that, it looks really cool. It's even cooler in hand. You guys do an amazing job with the slab and the presentation. And I'll let Kevin go take it over from here.
Sure.
But
so you kind of we talked about some of the stuff already. So I guess one of the things that I've been seeing a little bit is and you kind of touched on it a little bit, but why another grading company? Like what what made you guys decide to, okay, let's do cards?
Yeah. And first off, thank you guys. You guys are too kind for saying that, honestly. But yeah, it's a good question. It's the relevant question that everyone should ask, right? I'll be at the Fenway card show. There's like a first year card show and sports memorabilia show this weekend at Fenway Park. And then I'll be in Dallas next weekend at the Dallas Card Show May show. But whenever we talk to people and we flag them down the show floor, or I go into a card shop and talk about the company, they do ask that question because it's the right question to ask. Look, it's not like hasn't been card grading, right? It's not like we
Right.
haven't had BGS and PSA for 30 plus years. And it's not like there aren't other competitors out there that have come out there trying to take a slice of that pie, especially when, cards had kind of their latest renaissance, and everyone was, falling over themselves to pick up their own Jordan rookie, which I always think is funny because I'm like, the 86 Jordan rookie is not a particularly rare card. But it's became this like lightning rod for the last couple of years. It's great. I love the card. It's fantastic. It's just, I was like, that card? I mean, there's a lot of like 1/5s, 1/1s out there that I think look really cool and are really fun. I'm not sure, but that's fine. We can do it.
Hey, in 1986, I remember clearly going to our local mall, KB Toy Stars, 33 cents a pack.
Absolutely.
10 packs, 3 Jordan rookies.
So it's funny because my wife worked at KB Toys for several years when she was in high school and everything. And she would always do the same. She'd sell the packs behind the store and all that stuff. Yeah. So why a grading company, right? Well, the answer for us is we don't feel like let me back up a second. The way that some of our competitors are doing grading and collectible stuff is great. I think that, I 100% respect what PSA and Beckett have built, CSG and SGC and even HDA, right? These guys are coming in here doing something that's really hard, which is how do we get quantities of physical products in, pass them through an authentication and grading process, encase them and send them back to the customer, right? That's a hard problem to crack. And they've done it very well for a long time. But the challenge is that it hasn't really changed that much for us. And as collectors, I think what we've expected from collectible grading companies has changed quite a bit. We expect them to scale well, right? We expect if we send in 1,000 cards and they say they could take 1,000 cards, we expect 1,000 cards back. We expect cards to be consistently graded well, and in a way that we can understand. We expect that the encasement of our cards protects them correctly. And we also expect, especially now that the prices have really skyrocketed, that our investment will be protected, right? And that our own personal collection will be protected. So when we looked out there and we said, where can we make a difference? We looked at kind of all three of those, and in a very ambitious and terrifying way said, well, there's got to be a way that we can improve on all of these things, and not just improve one step up, but try to leapfrog it. And that's not saying that we think everyone everywhere is going to grade only with us. We know when we talk to, Beckett and PSA out there that the rising tide lifts all boats, and we can push each other to become better, right? We can push each other through competition to become better companies, to become companies that are driving forward for the collectors and building what they need. But that said, we saw a big opportunity. No one's really being transparent or consistent in their grades. And if they are, they're not proving it. That's one of the hardest things, is that when you're a collector and you get a grade back, you go, I can accept this, but only if I understand why. Like if I get an 8 on my card, I need to understand why I got the 8. And it's not scalable for you to go to that individual grader and say, hey, listen, I just want to know why I got an 8. It's also not consistent or replicable. We tried out, we talked to graders, we hired some people as consultants initially and said, explain to us why the cards got the grade they did. And we'd watch them change in real time. We'd watch the grade and the card shift a little bit from an 8 to, I'm now taking a second look over here. Maybe this is actually an 8.5 corner, or maybe this surface is actually a 9 instead of an 8 now that I've reevaluated it. And we realized that there was very little consistency that was being enforced at this level. And we thought, well, we can do that. We can operationalize grading. It's why our graders come in and they're less making individual judgments, and they're more like assigning and identifying issues with the card. Then they can kind of look at it as a whole and say, well, where are the individual areas? How do they ladder up to an overall grade, rather than spending 30 to 60 seconds on a card and saying, this looks like a 9. So we said we can level up there. We can level up on the presentation. If we're going to have cards that are worth $50,000 or $300,000, and like last year at the Nationals, seeing like the Mickey Mantle and the Jordan rookies sitting there in a case at PWCC's booth, you're looking at it going, it's 12 cents worth of plastic. That's 12 cents worth of plastic protecting a product that's far more expensive than my house. right? And here it is. It may not even be UV protected because a lot of the alternatives out there may not necessarily have UV protection in them. We're like, that doesn't make sense. Our phone gets all this level of protection. Why can't our cards when our cards are worth more than our phone? And we knew that if people were going to be ready and willing to spend $20, $30, $40, $50 for grading, let alone 100 to 150, they should expect something different than the same case they got back when submissions were $6 or $8. And it was fine when I'd send my cards in and they were worth $200 and got a PSA 10 and they came in a cheap plastic case. That's totally reasonable. Now, when they come back and they're worth $80,000, I don't think it's as reasonable to have that level of case. So we leveled it up there. And then the last area is just on the scalability. We said there's got to be a way for us to train out and build out some tech to help remove the bias, but also make it easier for our graders to grade. We never want to take the humans out entirely, but it's helpful for us to use the computer data that we gather to come in and help the graders do their job. So they can take a look at it and say, oh, I see where there's damage here. I may not have noticed that before had I not spent time. And the computer can just churn it out and load all these things up. And then the grader can go through and say, oh, interesting, that was a chip. Oh, no, this is actually part of the regular manufacturing process. That's not damage. Oh, this is definitely a bumped corner. This is a scratch. Nah, this is not a scratch, which helps us get better and better on the tech side and also helps the graders be more consistent. So that was the initiative behind it, was like, let's level it up. Let's level it up across every axis, and let's help push and deliver what we as collectors have been asking for, and frankly, should probably be expecting if this is the new normal, right?
Right. So speaking of some of the added things that you guys have, why don't you talk a little bit, like the UV and the codes on the back and all that stuff, and the security, and I know there's a bunch of stuff. I'm a bad one. Lorn will ask me a ton of questions. I'm like, I don't know. It looks cool, man. I want to get my card in it.
Totally.
That's
so
kind of where I'm at. So
let me explain a little bit. I'm going to pick up. This is one of my samples that I've got here. It's a Doctor Strange card that I got graded as a sample just to show off. There's a lot of things that happen on the case, but the number one thing that you'll feel when you touch it is the Gorilla Glass in the front and the back. It's there for one major reason, which is it's almost entirely scratch proof. It's not fully scratch proof, but it's very, very scratch proof. Scratch on it with your coins, with your keys, scratch on it with a lot of different things, and it keeps that kind of clarity that we wanted. The polycarbonate on the interior, which is the same kind of thing they make bulletproof glass out of, also we sourced exceptionally clear polycarbonate for that. The whole idea being, whenever you see your card, I want this to be true to the color of the card, especially with all the refractors and parallels out there. I want to see it. I want to see it at a level that it was deserves to be shown. But it also acts as a very strong protectant and anti-scratch stuff there. The polycarbonate itself is ultrasonically welded, which just means that we use high vibration welding machines to go ahead and essentially melt limited areas of the plastic to the upper and the lower part, which helps create a nice seal. We will never say our product is waterproof, but we would say it's water resistant. We have done some tests where we put highly sensitive water tags and water almost like strips inside the case to see if any water intrusion happened. We couldn't find any. Doesn't mean it's waterproof again, but probably fine if you spill coffee on it or something like that.
Right.
With the bumper on it, we include a artificial rubber bumper on it, which frankly, some people love it, some people don't love it. I actually think I was on the fence for a long time. When we talked about putting it on, I said, let's incorporate it. And then when I got it, I was like, I kind of really like it with the bumper on. Some people really dislike it, but that adds a whole nother layer of bounce protection. We've seen people chuck these off roofs like 3, 4, 5 stories up, and they're okay. And then last bit is the security features. It is very challenging to make this case. You would have to go to production level facilities and order very large runs of this same kind of case to get the same kind of quality and production stuff, where you can kind of go on Alibaba now and find some card cases that are just sort of blank templates or even just copying some of the existing designs out there. The label itself has an NFC chip inside it, so you can put your phone next to it to pull up the grading report. There's a QR code on the back. Every case is laser etched the serial number on the bottom. We also have on the label in particular, there's a square on the back that contains a lot of proprietary security stuff through one of our label manufacturers that has the same some of the same security features you feature on world currency. So things in there, if you were trying to anti-counterfeit money, you would put things like that on there. We featured some of those things in there. It's over the top. I will fully admit that. Do we need to have that for a card? Well, look, if you have if you got a nobody that was on the Kansas City Royals for 2 years, and then went back to the minors, probably. But we know that people are going to start counterfeiting cards. We know that people are going to try to break open our cases, just like they do with everyone.
Yep.
We know that people out there have these cards out there, and they want to have a legitimate looking case and put an illegitimate card, as many as they can, into it. We wanted to make that as hard as possible. You can never stop it. You can never stop someone from destroying your case or opening it. You can never stop someone from copying something. With enough effort, it's possible. We just want to make it really, really difficult and really, really expensive, so that's basically not worth the effort.
Right.
And all of that because we want someone, when they take a look at a rare edition card and see it on eBay or something like that, want that trust. Like, we're in a trust-driven industry. Like, we live and die by the trust people have in our product and our reputations. And I want to build that up for our company, right? I want people to be able to see our product and think, I know that that's as secure as it gets,
Sure, absolutely. Did you have something real quick?
No.
Okay.
I'm just blown away actually by all this information. I just love the case, and I love all the information you're giving us too.
Yeah. So I will say that, I had to get over a hump to try you guys, because I saw this quite a while ago. Oh, excuse me. I saw this quite a while ago, maybe through Spinatron or something. And I'm like, man, that's really cool. But that was intimidating when he was talking about it. I'm like, and it's rare edition. I'm like, do I want to send in this $70 card that I got? And it was a hump for me. And I'm just going to be honest with you, but now that I have it, some of those Black Top Legend cards are $10, but I want to put the money into it because I want to have a cool shelf, all rare edition, 15 cards all laid out. I think it's going to look beautiful.
What's really, really weird about that, and kind of ironic, and we were blindsided by it, is that almost all of our first submissions were all PC cards. So everyone's like, what's your card fetching on eBay compared to SGC and PSA? And we're like, no one's selling them. They're all holding on to them. So, I just got this guy sending in, like 20 Justin Herberts. And I was like, so are these yours? And he's like, oh yeah, it's all I love Justin Herbert. I've got a big PC collection. I was like, you're not going to sell any of them? Like, can you just put like 2 on eBay? We have started seeing more and more come up on eBay, and we're pricing ourselves on eBay. It's early days yet, obviously, but we're pricing ourselves right about like a BGS and CSG price is what we're seeing in the early ones. But if you're listeners, please reserve judgment. You should wait until we get more data out there, until you've seen more sales before we can really say that. But yeah, we've seen a lot of people come in with their PC cards just saying, I kind of just want to show this off.
I will say too that, I did a live reveal, Lorn and I did. And we had several people saying they wanted to, but they wanted to wait and see. And I said, hey, start with the PC card. That's what I'm recommending,
That's what everyone's doing, right?
Time will tell, obviously, I see really good things, but, I'm a big cheerleader for lots of new people. I think the more that you have, the more options you have, the better. And and I'm hoping,
I just actually sold a bunch of cards this week, and and I am not a seller. Everyone makes fun of me, like, Lorn, have you sold any cards yet? And I'm like, nope. I mean, I've got boxes and boxes and boxes of Teddy Bridgewater, because I'm like the #1 Teddy Bridgewater super fan.
Gotta do it.
And like, I'm perfectly fine with my PC cards. Not like, if I have a bunch of BGS slabs. BGS is the company that I've always, because I think they're the most aesthetically pleasing.
I like them.
And I have a couple black labels too. And like, I looked at this thing next to my black label, and I'm like, I like this better. I do. So I have a bunch of PC cards and that's what I would use you guys for. Because personally, to me, I don't think that most slabs add anything to the presentation of your card.
Yeah,
And I think these
ones do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you mentioned that, Lauren, because I have a lot of art in my house. So prior to working in the collectibles industry, I spent 13 years working in the video game industry. And then I spent 4 years working in the tech industry after that. Worked at like DraftKings and TripAdvisor and worked for Warner Brothers and a bunch of other companies. When I take art, I've got a bunch of stuff in my attic. My attic is basically the place that my wife kicks all my nerd stuff up into, which is totally fine. I don't want to imply there's any kind of disagreement. We mutually agreed. And I was like, perfect. I'll just hang out in the attic when I want to like play my Nintendo on my old CRT TV and everything, and put all my cards up there. But along all the walls is all this art. And what we will say is, if you have a Rembrandt, you wouldn't go to IKEA to buy a frame for it, right? And I think in this case, it's not so much about a Rembrandt in terms of price. It's about you being able to display the things that you feel the biggest attachment to. Right? If this is your player and this is your favorite representation of that player in this card, then you should get it in a way that you can show it off. I think that's one of the hardest things I have with cards, my own cards, is not being able to show them off to people that come over. Because as collectors, at least for myself as a collector, the one thing I wish people would do would be ask questions about my collectibles, right? And to be like, hey, where'd this come from? Because we all love it. We all love talking about that. You want to get in the good graces of anyone at a card show. Hey, where'd you get this card? Oh my God, my buddy pulled it. Like, let me tell you, it was great. He opened up this, and it just goes on and on, because we all love to talk about our favorite collectibles. I think it's about presentation and preservation. I think it's about taking your favorites and preserving them in a way that 20 years from now, if someone asks about it, you could be like, let me tell you, like, this card I pulled out of a pack out of nothing. I even have a 4.5 example card, because I was going to give it out, but it's total trash. The grade of 4.5 was a 1999. It's The Rock Chromium from 1999 SmackDown WWF series.
Oh, okay.
I bought, so Chromium's not a super easy set to find online. There are some out there, but it's like $9 a pack. I found some dude that was like, do you want wrestling cards? And I was like, how many do you have? Like 60 packs. And I'll give all 60 for $50. Oh, and I was like, that's pretty expensive, man. I don't know. And then, I was like, I guess I can do it. And then I walked out the store and I was like, oh my God, here we go. But that card I bent because I was slipping with, like, I was drinking coffee and I was opening packs, which is a terrible thing to do. But I was so excited. I was opening it. I creased it. It happened to be one of the most expensive cards in the set. I didn't notice it. I sent it off and I was like, this is awesome. Let's give it to some like wrestling fan. And they said, it's a 4.5 card. And I was like, that is BS. I cracked this out like 2 weeks ago. Unbelievable. And they were like, okay, but look on the grading report. And like looking at the back, there was this crease all across the back. And I was like, damn it. But now I want it. Now I'm like, this is going to be my story card. I'm going to bring it out and be like, why do you have a card that's a 9-5, 10, 9-5, and 4? Yeah. Let me tell you about the danger of opening packs with coffee. But that's that's what we want. We want to tell those stories. And I think for PC cards, for things that you want to hold on to forever, I love when people come back and say, this is how I'm going to preserve my connection to my favorite players, to my favorite teams. Sure. It just makes me feel warm inside, right? I kind of wish they'd sell them for $10,000 on eBay too. But a second to that, it's fantastic, because I think that you deserve to be able to show them off. I think you deserve to be able to present them because they mean something to you. They may not be a Rembrandt in price, but they're like a Rembrandt in your heart,
Sure, absolutely. So we're going to be up against it on time a little bit. So I'm going to rapid fire one more question to you, and then we'll start probably bringing it to a close. I
want to ask a question though, dude.
I think that's just going to be the same question.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. So basically, you guys are only taking to a certain point size. Is there a thicker card option in the near future?
We're actively working on up to 130 point thickness. There's all sorts of like RPAs and patch cards that we desperately want to be able to grade. We're also actively working on TCG cards. Because these cases are machined to such tight tolerances, we can't quite throw a card in there. And we even tried with and just have it kind of just sit there. We even tried putting a sleeve on cards that are different sizes, like for TCG, and it just takes away from the clarity that we're looking for. So we'd rather deliver a higher quality product, that can handle thicker cards, that can handle TCG sized cards. So absolutely coming in the near future. Desperately want to get it out there because there's so many hot, thicker cards out there.
I'm a little bit. What's a TGC card?
Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, things like that. Pokemon's the big one. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know what those cards are. I just never heard them called TGC.
Yeah, it's that, when you want to categorize them because you got to put a drop down on a website, everyone always calls them TCG because they don't want to list out Pokemon, Magic, and all that stuff. So
sure.
I actually have some old Yu-Gi-Oh. My kid and I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh on the PlayStation 1 or 2. The Duelist Rose game, and
all right, I'm going to ask one more, Lorn. I'm sorry.
We can talk about Yu-Gi-Oh after.
Just because. So now, as you do scale up, this will be real quick, and then we'll have you have a final word here. Your packaging, how you ship them out, is amazing. Is that going to be scalable? Like, if somebody sends in 50 cards, are they getting 50 individual boxes, 50 individual gold sealed?
So at a certain point, we ask. Like our bulk and group submitters immediately said, the last thing I want to do is get 500 cards back. Then I have to crack them out of a case, out of foil the whole time. So we do ask at a certain level, like, do you want this or not?
Okay.
And if you don't want it, that's fine. You can always put it in an order in the order notes and just say, hey, please don't individually wrap these, and that's fine. Otherwise, by default, we do like when people, especially for like 1 to 10 cards, you get that like box breaking open experience, which is part of what we want.
And that was a question from our good friend Mike at Cardmatic.
I thought that
wanted to throw that out there.
I thought that was a cool another cool thing that you guys do. Like you're just setting people up for YouTube reveals, which
I mean that's the
that's a marketing
the side of it is setting it up for the YouTube reveals, but then the collector side is I've always loved it. I honestly like cracking open packs is one of our team members said, Alex, why do you always open packs? Why don't you just buy singles? And I was like, I love opening them. That I'm the idiot that buys the like $40 pack on there and opens it and is like, oh, $2 worth of value. Well, that was fun. It's my scratch ticket. That's what it is,
Sure. So really, we're going to give you a minute here to talk about, I know you said you got a show coming up and you guys will have a presence there, I'm guessing. And anything else you want to mention to everybody? We'll have to have you on again. I think I told you that I just won another Blacktop Legend that'll be coming to you soon.
Absolutely.
And we're looking forward to getting that out. And as soon as you upgrade the size or, are able to handle the size, Lorn has a couple of amazing cards.
These are just a couple of the cards that I found around the house. Most of my cards are over.
Colossal there. Very nice.
Yeah. I've got both of them actually, the 1 of 2 and the 2 of 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So those are a little bit more rare than Kevin's Blacktop Legends.
I personally, I've got a lot of Topps Project 70s from artists I like. So I'm I want to get these in and give them out as examples and everything.
Awesome. All right.
Cool. Well, yeah. So all I would say is that, there is a point with Rare Edition where we'll be outside of kind of that waiting period, right? Where you can come in and say, well, I don't know how they're doing. And I can understand why people want to wait and see how things are going. I would just ask that if you're curious, like go ahead, send a card in, send 3 cards in. If anything's wrong, let us know. We're the kind of company where I try to email everyone that it's not quite scalable, but I try to email everyone that sends in an order and just say, thanks so much for your work. So if anything ever goes wrong, let us know. On top of that, we just opened up non-sports card grading. We've had a whole bunch of amazing Marvel and Star Wars cards come in. Mm-hmm. So if you have any standard size cards between 20 and 55, check us out. We'll be at the Dallas Card Show on May 19th through the 22nd. Also look for us at a couple other things. I think we'll be at the Dallas Card Show in July too. And we'll be bumming around the National as well, of course, and later on in July. So
absolutely awesome. Yeah, well, we appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for letting me come on here and talk so much. You guys should have cut me off.
No, and we'll definitely have to have you guys back on. we'd love to, maybe catch up in a short time here and see how things are going again for you.
Absolutely. We'd love to be on.
All right. Well, that'll bring this quick little episode with Alex from Rare Edition to a close.
Skull Brothers out.